Imagine you open Sahih al-Bukhari and find a narration that makes you stop. It says that Ali Rضي الله عنه burned some people, and then something even more interesting happens. Ibn Abbas Rضي الله عنه hears about it and says, "If I had been in his position, I would not have burned them." So what happened? Did Ali Rضي الله go against Islam? Was Ibn Abbas Rضي الله عنه saying Ali Rضي الله عنه was completely wrong? And why does this narration even exist in Sahih al-Bukhari? Let's slow down. Because this is exactly where Islamic history needs something we often forget today. Honesty, not blind defense, and not angry attacks. Just honesty with the sources. The narration is found in Sahih al-Bukhari number 3017. It reports that Ali Rضي الله عنه burned some people. When Ibn Abbas Rضي الله عنه heard about it, he said that if he had been in Ali's position, he would not have burned them. Why? Because the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, thought that people should not be punished with Allah's punishment. And then Ibn Abbas Rضي الله عنه said that he would have killed them instead of based on another saying of the Prophet, peace be upon him, about someone who leaves Islam. And this is where many people completely miss the point. The disagreement in this narration was not simply about whether those people should be punished. The clear disagreement recorded by Bukhari was about the method of burning them. Ibn Abbas Rضي الله عنه was saying, "I would not use fire as a punishment." And this is important because the Prophet, peace be upon him, had warned against using fire as a punishment. So now we have a real historical question. Why did Ali Rضي الله عنه do it? Here we need to be very carefully. The hadith itself doesn't explain every detail of what happened. It does not give us a full story of what happened before the incident. It does not tell us everything about those people. So we should not fill the gaps with the stories from social media and then call those stories facts. Some later scholars and commentators discuss possible explanation. One explanation is that Ali Rضي الله عنه may not have known or may not have remembered at that moment the specific teaching about punishment by fire. Some scholars understood his action as a matter of personal judgment. But these are explanations. They are not details that we should pretend are directly stated in Bukhari. And this teaches us something very important. The companions of the Prophet, peace be upon him, were human beings. They were among the greatest people in Muslim history. But they were not prophets. The Prophet, peace be upon him, was one whose teaching was the final reference. And look at something beautiful here. Ibn Abbas didn't say, Ali is a terrible person. He didn't turn disagreement into hatred. He simply explained what he believed was closer to the Prophet's teaching. And this is something Muslim youth today really need to understand. Having a disagreement doesn't automatically mean you hate someone. And respecting someone doesn't mean you have to pretend that every decision they made was perfect. We can respect great people while still studying evidence. We can love our Islamic history while still asking honest questions. And we can discuss difficult narrations without turning Muslims against each other. That is the lesson I want us to take from this story. Because today, when someone finds a difficult narration, we often make one of two mistakes. Some people immediately say, "This must be fake." Others immediately say, "Don't ask questions." But neither approach teaches us how to think. The better approach is, go back to the source, read what it actually says, separate the confirmed information from later explanations, and then ask what the scholars have said about it. That is how you study history, and that is also how you protect your faith from misinformation. There is another important point. This narration doesn't give us permission to judge Ali Rضي الله عنه with the standards of internet arguments. We were not there. We don't know every detail of the situation, and we should not invent motives from him. What we do know is what the authentic narration records. Ali Rضي الله عنه burned some people. Ibn Abbas Rضي الله عنه disagreed with using fire. And Ibn Abbas Rضي الله عنه based his position on the teachings of the Prophet, peace be upon him. That is what the source clearly gives us. Everything beyond that needs evidence, And maybe that is the real lesson. Islam does not need to hide difficult questions. It needs us to learn how to handle them responsibly. If we want Muslim youth to become stronger, we should not teach them to fear questions. We should teach them how to investigate, how to check sources, how to understand context, and how to disagree without hatred. Because our community does not become stronger when every difficult question becomes a fight. It becomes stronger when Muslims communities sit together, open the books, look at evidence, and say, let's find out what is actually true. So when you hear this story again, don't just ask what was Ali right or wrong. Ask something deeper. What does the authentic source actually say? What do we know for certain? What are we only assuming? And what can we learn from this agreement itself? Because sometimes the most powerful lesson in history is not that everyone agreed. It is that people could disagree, return to evidence, and still remain part of the same community. And maybe that's something we desperately need today. Not less faith, not fewer questions, but better questions, better research, more honesty, and more respect for one another. If this video made you think differently about Islamic history, then stay with Improve with Hammad. Our goal is simple: to learn, to think, to become better Muslims, and to bring Muslims closer together, not further apart. Because the truth doesn't need shooting, it needs honesty.